While the corrupt media wants to keep you distracted with the ouster of Speaker McCarthy and the infighting between the Republican Party right now as we search for a new speaker, they don't want to talk to you about their own dirt and everything that they're going through with their corrupt president. Right now, just 16 days after Biden became president, we have learned that his corrupt DOJ requested a briefing with the IRS over Hunter Biden's criminal cases. Also, Catherine Herridge of CBS News reveals that in fact Joe Biden is quote unquote political figure number one in the whistleblower records from the House investigation. We've got video of that. Hunter Biden related cases alarmed agents because some of the attendees from the DOJ included some of Biden's own appointees, which had no authority in the case whatsoever. Also, Merrick Garland's insistence of the DOJ, there was no interference from the DOJ, is a complete and utter lie. We're taking that on today's show. This is the Carl Jackson Show podcast. All right, now this is the Carl Jackson Show podcast, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Please follow us on all things social media at the Carl Jackson Show. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Truth Social, Getter, wherever I am. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find us. Subscribe to our podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. Subscribe, follow, please share. Wherever you can rate it, please do that, por favor. We would certainly appreciate it. All right, guys, I'm going to delve right into this, and also I'll bring you some of the headlines, but this is going to be relatively expensive. I want to do an in-depth analysis of this latest bombshell that just days after Joe Biden became president, 16 days, as a matter of fact, his DOJ asked for a briefing with the IRS and the IRS whistleblowers that the Biden administration are trying to destroy. Hunter Biden's attorneys are trying to destroy. That is Zegler and Shapley, Gary Shapley and Joseph Zegler. So we'll get into that. But his DOJ requested a meeting with them over Hunter Biden's cases. Why would they do that? We've got great detail and specificity that I would like to get into in regards to that. First, let me just bring you some quick headlines. And we've got Catherine Herridge of CBS News waiting. That's by video, by the way. But we've got her waiting in the wings to break down who exactly is political figure number one in the Hunter Biden's case. This is getting, I'm telling you, the mainstream media are desperate to get rid of Joe Biden. The question is it too late? For all intents and purposes, it is. But the more corruption that continues to bleed out and to leak out into the ether, this is why Republicans have to get their crap together as quickly as possible. I mean, people that are paying attention to politics now and are going to start paying attention to politics are going to start hearing this stuff. And here's the dilemma. Here's the dilemma for Democrats. They have tried to frame Trump as the most corrupt president in American history. Meanwhile, there's evidence leaking that Biden actually is the most corrupt president in American history, I believe. All right, so this is insane. So the left isn't going to be able to diminish Trump when their guy is actually the one that is corrupt. So I'm telling you, I think they want to, I know that this is a difficult decision for the Democrats, but at some point they're going to have to make a decision. Are we going to roll with the corrupt Joe Biden, or are we not? And right now, I think the decision is to roll with Joe Biden, although you have Gavin Newsom waiting in the wings, but you have people like Catherine Herridge, I believe formerly of Fox News, now with CBS News, that are constantly, it's that drip, 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 and this is going to hurt the Biden administration. All right, so let me give you some news. I just saw this on Bongino Report. Dan Bongino, not only a great podcaster, a radio guy, but he's got a great aggregate site of all these news stories. So here's one. DHS Secretary Myorcus pulls a 180 degree turn and admits, quote, immediate need, quote unquote, for border wall to halt historic surge in illegal immigration. By the way, I saw Ron DeSantis, regardless of how you feel about the Trump Ron DeSantis thing, I don't care. He's finally catching his stride. I've been seeing videos of him. I haven't been sharing them. Frankly, but I've been seeing videos of him catching his stride. I think the problem with the DeSantis campaign, I'm not sure if it's too little too late. He's got to get these other candidates out of the race. He's got to convince people that he's the alternative to Trump and not a Chris Christie or a Nikki Haley or a Vivek Ramaswamy or a Mike Pence. And it seems like he's getting his stride. The question is it too little too late? I only bring him up when I mentioned this Myorcus thing is because he put out a video that I saw on Twitter explaining how he would build a wall and how he would be able to get Mexico to pay for it, and he offered a specific idea, which is kind of uncanny. So he's going after Trump. He's offering a specific idea. It's interesting. It may be too little too late. Trump is already a known quantity, but that's yet to be seen. All right. So, but I did find that interesting, especially seeing this news. So perhaps that is why I saw that. All right. More in the news. Los Angeles School District to celebrate National Coming Out Day all of next week. All right. So the LA Unified School District, check this out. According to hotair.com, only 47% of all students meet English language standards in Los Angeles. Frankly, I'm surprised it's that good. And 33% meet math standards. Now, that's horrific. That's all students in LA. Now, for black students, the numbers are even worse. 31% for English language standards. That is insane. And 17% for math. Wow. And they're worried about CRT and DEI and all this kind of stuff, and now National Coming Out Day. That's why it is so important, according to Hot Air, that a week is dedicated to teaching about alphabet ideology, as they're calling it. Perhaps it doesn't matter, though, since the curriculum I'm about to go through is for elementary school students. Wow. Ages 6 to 10. So that's right. National Coming Out Day for ages 6 to 10. Meanwhile, LA students, the majority of them cannot read and write on proficient levels. But you have that to look forward to, you Los Angelinos, National Coming Out Day, as the left continues to sexualize your children. The Fifth Circuit Court rules that President Biden cannot censor speech on social media platforms. Now, I'm glad that they have ruled this way. This again from Hot Air. The problem is the Biden administration nor the left, these big tech giants, don't care. That's why Elon Musk buying Twitter was so detrimental to the left. This is why they can't stand him. Even though Elon Musk, and I'm sorry, with Twitter and some of the hires that he's had, aren't as great as I had hoped, frankly, but still better than many of those sites that are out there. So this, according to Hot Air, looks like another federal court doesn't support the idea that the Homeland Security's writ includes America's cognitive infrastructure, quote unquote. In a unanimous ruling yesterday, the Fifth Circuit expanded bars on the Biden administration's censorship activities, blocking the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, they need to get rid of that, from any speech policing communication with private sector media platforms. Now, here's the problem. The Metas of the world, or Facebook, a lot of these guys have gotten a taste of that power. They're a bunch of lefties, and they don't know how to combat conservative thought, constitutional thought, so they like the censorship too. So that's part of the problem. I suspect that censorship will continue, but now there's a cudgel that Republicans can use to go after these big tech companies, and they need to do just that. The healthcare workers began the strike outside of Kaiser Permanente hospitals. This from the AP. Picketing began yesterday at Kaiser Permanente hospitals. 75,000 healthcare workers went on strike. That's in Virginia, California, 3 other states as well, over wages and staffing shortages. Now, this is, I can't stand union strikes, to be blunt with you. This one, I feel some sympathy for the employees simply because there is a shortage, a tremendous shortage of both nurses and doctors in a lot of these hospital facilities. Doctors aren't participating in the strike. And Kaiser says that its hospitals, including the emergency rooms, will remain open. During the picketing, unions representing Kaiser workers in August asked for a $25 hourly minimum wage, as well as increases of 7% each year in the first 2 years and 6.25% each year in the years after. So we'll have to wait and see what comes of that. But there is a severe shortage when it comes to healthcare workers and even doctors. And quite quite frankly, this is why Republicans, conservatives, somebody, please help us. We have to go back to eliminating Obamacare. What Obamacare did is they made it extremely, extremely difficult for any private practice to survive because there is so much paperwork that is involved and you have to accept clients and all these different insurances. That's just absolutely insane. Figure out all the rigmaroles and the regulation. It basically bolstered insurance companies. Insurance companies got butt rich and continue to do so. And insurance companies were thriving under Obamacare because that's essentially what Obamacare did. It was like a payoff to insurance companies. Meanwhile, doctors and patients' relationships were just totally destroyed as a result of it. You got so many of these doctors that have to join these hospitals now because they cannot afford to hire staff to do all of the paperwork required under Obamacare. It's absolutely insane. And now you have these major hospitals swallowing up good doctors, but the work is so intense. It's just so much going on. These people, I mean, they just working tons of hours. They're getting burned out. They're not getting paid the way that they should. They are understaffed in so many cases. And these people are woke as heck. A lot of doctors and nurses don't have the say except in the operating rooms and taking care of patients per se. But even when it comes to that, they may not have all of the say and autonomy that they would want to have or would have with their patient if, in fact, they were in private practice. Because the managers at these hospitals, it's insane. All right. Biden cancels another $9 billion in student loan. Honestly, this is making college worthless. Something has to be done by you. Honestly, federal student loans need to go bye-bye for the most part. If you want to get a loan, the way that it should work are these college institutions should have to pay for it. That would end all of the stupid diplomas that are out there. Degrees that are out there. That would end it. If you want to go to college, you either have to pay that college directly or that college, if they think you're so great as a student, they have to give you the loan. And if there's some private donors or somebody out there that is willing to give you scholarship money on a private level, the way that it was before Obama took over our college payment plans as well, man, that guy the left, they have destroyed America. Never underestimate what Biden did to fundamentally transform America. And that's continuing to happen. Now, having said that, I want you, that's enough for some of the news of the day. I do want to mention this. Housing. Let me find this real quick because I'm going to tackle this subject maybe later, maybe tomorrow or next week. But I got to tackle housing. I got to let you know what the left and the World Economic Forum and all these people are trying to do with housing. They are making it virtually impossible for first-time home buyers to buy a home. And that is intentional. Kari Lake announces a bid for the Arizona Senate. Blake Masters is running for Senate too. Quite frankly, I would have preferred that Kari Lake tried to go after the governorship again and leave the Senate race to Blake Masters. I think he's a fantastic candidate. I like Kari Lake too, but I hate to see that they're going to have to get in a mano-a-mano type situation there in Arizona to go after Kirsten Sinema's seat. All right, now, having said that, let's go right to our video. This is Catherine Herridge. Now, Catherine Herridge, what she is revealing here is that Joe Biden is, in fact, what they're calling the House Oversight Committee in their investigations in the corrupt Biden family, the Biden crime family, as Joe Biden as the big guy, Joe Biden being the boss, that in fact, what they know and what we know, because you still have media claiming, well, there's no connection with Joe Biden. It's just Hunter Biden. This is the case of Hunter Biden or Joe Biden just loving on his crackhead son. And they don't use the word crackhead, but I'm throwing that in there for emphasis and a little fun, to be frank with you. All right, so this is all about Hunter Biden, and this is all about Joe Biden loving Hunter Biden. No, this is about Joe Biden, a scandalous, despicable human being that is using his crackhead son, and I would not doubt that his son is a crackhead because of Joe Biden himself. I wouldn't doubt that. The guy is disgusting. The guy is a despicable human being. His daughter wrote in a diary that her dad was showering with her at an inappropriate age. An absolutely disgusting human being. And then he uses his son to enrich himself and the rest of his family. Even his granddaughter, I believe, is corrupt, which is Hunter Biden's daughter. There was a story last week how she was involved, and she's involved in this law firm where she handles foreign dealings and all this kind of stuff. They're trying to say, oh, she's just a newbie. She's kind of a rookie. This is just what they do. I don't buy it. This family is so freaking corrupt. It's insane. Having said that, let's go right to Catherine Herridge of CBS. Let's roll this, because she has found out with some heavily redacted paperwork, but nonetheless, the House Oversight Committee knows that political figure one is, in fact, then VP Joe Biden. In other words, then Vice President Joe Biden was hooking up his son, Hunter Biden, and enriching the Biden crime family. I'm telling you, legacy media, the corrupt legacy media, is laying it on thick. They want this fool out. So even while the media tries to focus on what's happening with the Republican Party, and I admit right now it kind of feels like a freaking disaster, all right? But their party is in disaster mode too. They don't know what to do with Joe Biden, and they are afraid that they're going to have to stick with this guy. And if they have to stick with him, guys, if you think what they're doing to Trump now is bad, just wait. They have to destroy Trump if they run Joe Biden. Let's roll the tape, Gabe.
The Republican-led House Ways and Means Committee has released hundreds of new documents from the Hunter Biden investigation. And I want to walk you through Exhibit 202 and 203. Exhibit 202 is an email from August of 2020. It was sent by prosecutor Leslie Wolf to senior FBI and IRS investigators who are drafting a search warrant. Wolf tells them to keep the scope narrow and limited to potential violations of foreign lobbying laws, or FARA, and to remove references to political figure one. So who is political figure one? Well, that's explained in Exhibit 203. It's heavily redacted, but this is the draft warrant, and it lists political figure one as former Vice President Joe Biden. The IRS whistleblowers have alleged that they were blocked from following evidence that may have led to President Biden. We reached out to Special Counsel David Weiss and the Justice Department, who declined to comment. Weiss says he's working independently from the Justice Department. President Biden and Hunter Biden have denied any wrongdoing in the case.
Thank you, Catherine. That's where I pick up from here, guys. All right, so hat tip, just the news. Days after Joe Biden became president, his DOJ saw briefing on Hunter criminal case memo show. That is the title of the article from Just the News. So we're going to delve into this. I'm going to have to do a little bit of reading here because there is a lot to this, but we'll go through it as quickly as we can, but also as thoroughly as we can. All right, guys, again, or not again, but let me say this. Today's show is brought to you in part by MyPillow.com. Mike Lindell at MyPillow.com with his fabulous business, American products, American manufacturing. Please visit MyPillow.com and support Mike Lindell and his business and get a good night's sleep as well. Right now, MyPillow.com has products that are available literally some Giza sheets over 50% off or 50% off. If you use the promo code Carl, go to the radio podcast square at the top of the page, enter my name, C-A-R-L. C-A-R-L is where you can enter my name, or give them a call, 800-858-0263, 800-858-0263. And guys, I'm telling you, there are products available that are over 60% off. All you have to do is use my name as a promo code. You're talking about not only are the Giza Dream sheets discounted, but you're talking about My Pillow, My Pillow 2, mattress toppers, you name it. You think of it, it's there. Discounts are available. Use my name as a promo code. All right, now getting back to this. Getting back to this column. All right, so now 16 days after Biden assumed the presidency, top officials in his Justice Department raised suspicion. Why? Because or they raise suspicion among career IRS agents. That would be Gary Shapley, Joseph Zegler, and others within the IRS who perhaps aren't whistleblowers. Why did the department, the DOJ, raise suspicion amongst career IRS agents? By demanding a briefing on the criminal investigation into Hunter Biden. So imagine this. Joe Biden becomes president of the United States. Joe Biden becomes president of the United States. 2 weeks and 2 days later, Joe Biden sends his DOJ, his political appointees, after they're appointed, into the IRS to check up on Hunter Biden's criminal cases. Why would he do this? I think you know. I think you know. Obviously, Joe Biden would do this. He knows the DOJ is already corrupt. He's going to further corrupt them, but he's going to cover his behind. He knows that any information that these people, that the IRS may let out on Hunter Biden on these tax evasion cases would lead right to the big guy, would lead right to political figure number one. This is what we know. This is what we know. Guys, if we don't have fair elections, there is no United States of America. If we don't have the rule of law, there is no United States of America. Getting back to this, continuing with the summary. On February 5th, 2021, there was a meeting between the U.S. Attorney David Weiss. All right, David Weiss from Delaware. So between the U.S. Attorney David Weiss's office, in Delaware, and some of Biden's new assistant attorney generals in the DOJ Washington headquarters. And that was chronicled in an email exchange between federal prosecutors and IRS whistleblowers Gary Shapley and Joseph Zegler. So Biden can't even lie about this. There is documentation that he sent his political appointees into the meetings regarding Hunter Biden's criminal cases. Again, the February 5, 2021 meeting between U.S. Attorney David Weiss's office in Delaware and some of Biden's new assistant attorneys general in DOJ's Washington headquarters was chronicled in email exchanges between federal prosecutors and IRS whistleblowers. Here's a quote from Leslie Wolf. Now, Leslie Wolf, she's the, who is she? She's Delaware Assistant U.S. Attorney. Man, that's long. Delaware Assistant U.S. Attorneys. All right, so here's what she had to say. The attorneys have the briefing at 11:30 with the AAGs. AAGs standing for Assistant Attorney Generals. All right, so this is Leslie Wolf. Again, she is the Delaware Assistant U.S. Attorney. So they all know this. David Weiss is lying. Everybody is lying here. She wrote to the IRS and the FBI agents working the case who were told their regular meeting with Wolf might be delayed by the briefing in Washington. Wow. And here's what Wolf had to say, and I quote, "It is scheduled for an hour, but if we aren't on at 12:30, meaning her meeting with Washington." Good God. Let me just read it. I'm sorry. Good Lord. She says it is scheduled for an hour, but if we aren't on at 12:30, you will know that it ran long. You guys can either start without us or people can log out and we will shoot an email out when we are done. Was she going to Washington to get instructions from Biden's DOJ? Let him know what the deal was. Now, who got the email? The recipients on Wolf's email included Zegler, which was one of the whistleblowers, Joseph Zegler, the IRS case agent on the Hunter Biden tax probe that was codenamed Sportsman. A short while later, Zegler's supervisor Shapley alerted the IRS chain of command about concerns that Biden's new DOJ officials were asking to join the meeting, including one, listen to this, from the National Security Division. Let me read that again. So Shapley, this guy, this is a good guy. this guy Gary Shapley, that they've tried to totally destroy his character as well as Joseph Zegler. So again, a short while later, Zegler's supervisor, Gary Shapley, one of the IRS whistleblowers that we've seen on the Hill, alerted the IRS chain of command. So he went through the chain of command. He did the right thing about concerns that Biden's new DOJ officials, he knew there was something suspicious. Because remember, this case had already been ruminating, if you will, with the IRS. So this was new. Like, what the heck is going on here? So the new DOJ officials were asking to join the meeting. Again, this included one from the National Security Division that had no jurisdiction in the tax probe. And some of the attendees, again, were Biden's political appointees. So why would you send someone from the National Security Division that has no authority in the tax probe? National security. National security. What are we going to be concerned about? What are we going to be concerned about? National security. In other words, these people know that Joe Biden is compromised. Everyone knows that Joe Biden is compromised. That means the United States, that means you and I are compromised. Here's an email from the quote from Jerry Shapley. We learned today that the USAO and DOJ tax are briefing the new AAG on the tax case today. This is the whistleblower Gary Shapley. That's a quote from him. That's what Shapley wrote his boss. He went on to say, NSD asked for a briefing so they could understand the tax side of the case. Why does the National Security Division need to understand the tax side of the case? He says, Shapley does, I don't understand why this matters to them since they are NSD. But I just wanted to give you an update this meeting was, quote unquote. So this guy smelled a rat, Gary Shapley, the whistleblower, did right away. They had already been working on this case against Hunter Biden, tax evasion case, and all of a sudden, Biden's political appointees, including from the NSD, want to know about the case. The request for the briefing escaped public and media notice for a couple of years. This, according to Just the News. But now it's here. It comes only weeks after reports disclose that Associate Deputy Attorney General Bradley Weissenheimer had contact with Hunter Biden's attorney. Listen, it comes only weeks after reports disclose that Associate Deputy Attorney General Bradley Weissenheimer had contact with Hunter Biden's attorneys in May during the effort to negotiate a now abandoned plea deal that would have spared Hunter Biden, prison time on tax evasion and gun charges. So basically, Biden's DOJ working behind the scenes all the while to get his son off. Because all of Hunter Biden's corruption leads to his boss, Joe Biden. Never let anyone tell you that this was Hunter Biden's business, that Joe Biden was just this sympathetic father figure. He wasn't. This is a disgusting human being that we know is a pervert, that we know is a racist, and now we know he is an abusive father that would use his children to enrich himself. This is a disgusting human being, Joe Biden is. I don't feel sorry for the man at all. At all. Hunter Biden has since been charged with 3 gun felonies and remains under investigation. He has pleaded not guilty. Thank God that judge blew this up. Thank God. I forget her name. Forgive me. But thank God she blew this up. So there's no way Garland and his DOJ stayed clear of Weiss's investigation into Hunter like he claimed. Biden's attorney Abe Lowell also tried to attack the IRS whistleblowers. That's another reason you know that this is straight up BS. When you have Biden's attorney, Hunter Biden's attorney, Abe Lowell, has to attack the IRS whistleblowers, try to attack their credibility. He can't attack the case. He can't attack the merits of the case. Shapley and Zegler have been relentlessly attacked by Hunter Biden's attorney, Abe Lowell, according to Just the News, who contended that both Shapley and Zegler broke federal law when making protected disclosures to Congress. How did whistleblowers break federal law? By becoming whistleblowers and going up the chain of ladders, which we now know Gary Shapley did, which actually we've known all along, but it's proven that Shapley did. Lowell told CNN that the whistleblowers were, quote, disgruntled agents with an axe to grind, close quote. So were they disgruntled for the years prior to you guys coming to them and trying to get Hunter Biden off? Were they disgruntled when they were just doing their job the years before that? I mean, it's absolutely insane. The two agents, however, have been authorized by Congress, obviously, to make their disclosures public and have backed up their testimony with thousands of pages of documents. The DOJ's history of obstruction in Hunter Biden-related cases they testified to Congress included this. Number one, being turned down for perfectly legal search warrants. So this is what happened when they were looking into Hunter Biden's related case. All right. So the DOJ was obstructing the case against Hunter Biden because it was leading to the big guy, or as Catherine Herridge of CBS News reports, political figure number one, VP Joe Biden, then VP Joe Biden, now President Biden. So this is the DOJ's history of obstruction into the Hunter Biden case. Number one, being turned down for perfectly legal search warrants for Joe Biden's property and Hunter Biden's storage locker. Number two, being blocked from inquiring about Joe Biden or his grandchildren. Remember, I told you, I think Hunter Biden's daughter is corrupt too. A young attorney, only 27, 28 years old, corrupt as hell, I believe. My opinion, all right? Number three, being thwarted from doing a surprise interview with Hunter Biden. So imagine that. You can't do a surprise interview with Hunter Biden. Would that be the case with anyone else for tax evasion? Obviously they wouldn't get that level of grace and mercy. Number four, in fact, instead of allowing agents to simply interview Hunter Biden, DOJ officials contacted. Listen to me. The DOJ officials, you guys, I'm sure many of you listening remember this. They contacted Joe Biden's team and told them ahead of time that they wanted to speak with Hunter Biden. Wow. Here's a quote from Gary Shapley, one of the whistleblowers. He says, I am blowing the whistle because the Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office, the DOJ tax and Department of Justice provided preferential treatment and unchecked conflicts of interest in an important high-profile investigation of the president's son, Hunter Biden. This is what Shapley testified before the House, and I believe it was the House Ways and Means Committee. But also, here's some more obstructions. The IRS whistleblowers provided documentary evidence that the Biden-appointed U.S. attorneys in Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles blocked Weiss's, the state attorney in Delaware, blocked his efforts to charge Hunter for tax crimes in their jurisdiction, including not paying taxes on $400,000 in income Hunter Biden received from his controversial work for the Ukrainian-based Burisma Holdings. Number six, instead, the DOJ let the statute of limitations run on potential conflicts. So the DOJ was running interference for Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Essentially for Joe Biden, right? Because they don't want the evidence to go to the big guy. An FBI agent recently corroborated Zegler's and Shapley's account about the block charges during an interview with the House Judiciary Committee, according to Just the News. The evidence is mounting. The criminal charges blocked from Washington and L.A. The deputy AG office's role in disastrous plea deal this spring, and now the disclosure about a request for a briefing just 16 days after Biden's inauguration. So that means that Garland's claims to Congress are suspect at best. Honestly, let's just be real. He lied. Weiss, Garland said that Weiss was left alone to make decisions on the case. That is not true. We are finding that out. Obviously, as more evidence comes out. So this is what the media doesn't want you to know. We've got a guy, and this guy can't stay in. He can't. Guys, I got to tell you this. I would rather, I know this will upset some people. I'd rather have dumb as hell Kamala Harris in the White House over Joe Biden because of this level of corruption. He has dementia. She's dumb. It's kind of a wash. It's kind of a wash. Number two, Garland lied about having that Weiss had full authority. That's just simply not true. That he faced no interference from the main DOJ staff or Joe Biden's political appointees. That's not true. Garland's untruthful testimony this spring. Here's what he said, quote, he has been advised, speaking of Weiss, that he should get anything he needs. I have not heard anything from that office that suggests they are not able to do anything that the U.S. attorney wants them to do. Yeah, perhaps he hasn't heard it. He already set things in motion. Joe Biden heard things in motion. Hear no evil, see no evil. Guys, don't come back to me. Garland testified to this spring, but after repeatedly being questioned by Senator Chuck Grassley, Garland recently admitted Weiss that his prosecutors in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. could have blocked the cases as the agent alleged. What? What? I understand how the swamp works. Garland, to save his butt, will throw the people that he demanded be corrupt under the bus. That's Washington, D.C. That is Washington, D.C. I hope and pray in the name of Jesus that Merrick Garland goes to jail. I really do. You whiny little parrot-sounding wimp. I hope you go to jail. House investigators recently sent DOJ a demand for documents and answers about some of the DOJ intervention. Here's what the file said. Congressional investigators also are interested in why DOJ's National Security Division, which faced sharp criticism for misleading applications for FISA warrants. For FISA warrants? What did they want FISA warrants for? Oh, in the now discredited Russia collusion probe against Donald Trump and the 2022 raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in the classified documents case. Was trying to inject itself into a meeting about Hunter Biden's tax case. So why would the National Security Division that contributed to the raid in Mar-a-Lago, that faced sharp criticism for misleading applications for FISA warrants, why would they want to be in on the Hunter Biden tax evasion case? Let's see. Trump-Russia collusion, raid Mar-a-Lago, make sure you cover up Joe Biden's connection. Oh, I'm sorry, not Joe Biden. Political figure one's, connection to his corrupt son that's working for his corrupt dad. Here's a quote from Devin Nunes. You guys remember him. He exposed the Russia collusion hoax, and he says, and I quote, "This could be the first glimpse into what I've been saying for a very long time about that Team Obama had inserted into the National Security Division of the FBI and the DOJ." That's what he told Just the News. This is where the plumbers are. This is where the operatives are, he says. This is where the people are that are doing the worst things at the DOJ throughout our government. This is where they live. You see why this, honestly, it has to be busted up. These institutions have to be busted up. You cannot save them. You cannot tell me. You cannot sit here and tell me that these agencies aren't corrupt, that we just have to whittle them down. Now, maybe we start with whittling them down, but these things have to be busted up. They have to be dismantled because there's a system of corruption that exists within these institutions now that's permeated the entirety of the institution. Devin Nunes went on to say, "This is what we found out during the Russia hoax. We now have found it out. John, through your great reporting on the Ukraine impeachment hoax, this is all hidden in the National Security Division." Why? Because it's the area where they can wall off the rest of the DOJ and FBI and say, oh, this is top secret. Our nation is at risk. Oh, my Lord. Things could blow up. People could die if people learn about this. This is why we have to keep it so secret. Weiss's original confession to the IRS whistleblowers in notes from an October 2022 meeting with the investigative team on the Hunter Biden case, Shapley wrote that Weiss, whose Delaware office is in charge of the Hunter Biden case, told the team that this is what Weiss told the team. He is not the deciding person. No. It's the DOJ. It is the DOJ. It is Merrick Garland. It is Joe Biden. Shapley wrote that before Weiss would be allowed to bring tax charges against Hunter Biden, he must get approval from the DOJ tax division. And he said, Tax will grant discretion, not approve, quote unquote. This is what Shapley noted that Weiss told him. Hunter Biden's attorneys also repeatedly sought and obtained meetings with DOJ officials in order to pressure the department into foregoing the charges against their client. Guys, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm throwing a lot at you. This is a lot of meaty stuff. But suffice it to say, Joe Biden is absolutely corrupt. In my opinion, the guy needs to be thrown in jail. I understand that isn't going to happen. I've said in the past that I don't want that to happen because of our system. I don't believe that presidents should be thrown into jail because you don't want to disrupt our system. But Biden has disrupted it. I don't even know what to think. I'm just being real. I don't even know what to think. This level of corruption is insane. And this man is sitting in the White House, not only having dementia, but completely compromised. And all of our allies and all of our adversaries know it. The world is a much weaker place with Joe Biden in the White House. I'll end it there. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Please subscribe to the podcast. Please share it. If you're on Instagram, please find me on Instagram, Twitter, anywhere that I am on social media. That stuff really does help us out. I would certainly appreciate it. I'm humbled when you do. I promise you that. If you message me, I will try my best to get back to you, particularly if you message on Twitter. Oh, YouTube, super thanks. Some of you have been generous on YouTube with your super thanks. If you can help the podcast out in that way, listen, we certainly appreciate it. I mean, honestly, it means the world to me. I'm humbled by it, to be frank with you. All right. So, and also we're on Rumble, free speech platform. In case the rest of these fools ever cancel us, make sure you subscribe to us on Rumble. Guys, until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you. Please support our sponsor, MyPillow. Otherwise, this podcast is not. We can't do it. We can't do it without their help. We can't do it without your help. God bless you.